What's going on, everyone? We are back with another JS drop, and we are here today with one of my good buddies, and I'm super excited for this one. Shashi Lo. For those that don't know Shashi Lo is a senior UX manager at Microsoft, but on top of that, he is a conference speaker, meetup speaker, online educator. He does it all, and he has been known in the past as a CSS magician. And so there is that. And so I'm super excited for today's topic. I think we're going to cover a lot of really good, valuable points. And so, from an educational standpoint or learning how to build better systems and things like that, this is going to be a really good topic. Shash, you want to give us like a rundown on what it is that we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Danny, and this Dot Labs. Today we're going to talk about data-driven UX decisions, everything that you can utilize for data points, and also talking about a process that you can implement with any medium or large size projects. A lot of days nowadays, it's just free flowing, right? You just kind of get something, you do it, and you implement it. But this talk today kind of guides you through like making better decisions with data.
Heck yeah. Okay, I like it. Without further ado, welcome to another JS drop. Shashi Lo, the flow is yours.
All right. What's up? I'm Shashi Lo. Today we're here to talk about data-driven UX decisions. My keys aren't working. I'm from Austin, Texas. I'm a senior UX engineer at Microsoft. I'm a huge advocate of awesome UX. Therefore, I hope that you'll learn something out of today's talk. And yes, that is me. It's not AI. Okay, so why does this matter for non-designers, right? Like we're talking about design and data and all that stuff. So you might be asking me, like, I don't care about the design. I don't care about the pixels. Well, have you ever received a feature request and thought, is that this is a recipe for disaster? They didn't consult with any developers, PMs, all that stuff, and they're giving me this feature to build. The easy thing to do is be an obedient developer and just build a feature out, right, without any requests or understanding why or how. Instead, let's be curious. I'm hoping that this talk can shed some light to give y'all some ideas on data capturing resources that can help you and your team be more efficient with your UX decisions. So, things we'll go over in this session. How can data make better UX decisions? How we can achieve the goal of implementing more successful features with the usage of quantitative data and qualitative data. We're going to go over a common UX process that many companies go through. It's just a simple process. And then we're going to wrap it up by showing an improved UX process with all the information that we've learned. All right. So, how can data help make better UX decisions? I've been part of many teams, and oftentimes the request has been opinionated and with emotions, right? Like you just make decisions because you think it's better, opposed to using data to drive your decisions. So, how can all this data points, quantitative, qualitative, make better decisions? Well, let me give you an example of an industry that is revolutionizing the usage of data. Baseball. Okay, here's a graph, right? On the left side, this is a defense of graph where if you see the positions, if you don't know baseball, I'll just quickly highlight the left side is left field, center, and right? And then there's a diamond. And when the hitter hits the ball, they have to run to first base, which is the 1B right there, the first baseman. And then the diamond at the top of the triangle, that's the second base, third base, all that stuff, right? In baseball, when you hit a ball, you can get on base. Getting on base is good because that means you can score more runs. The more runs your team gets, the better chance you have of winning. But getting on base is very difficult. If we look at the standard infield baseball at the bottom of the left graph, it's a total batting average of 248. That's 248 out of 1,000 chances, right? That's just how baseball kind of does it, their average baseball hitting averages. And if you look at this person, it's a left-handed hitter. So when the ball, the P, that's the pitcher in the middle of that square. When they throw the ball, as a left-handed hitter, when they hit it, they're gonna hit it to the right 40 what is it? 44% of the time. And they're going to hit it in the middle 41% of the time. And they're going to hit it to the left side 14% of the time, right? And that's very low because it is very hard to hit it towards the opposite way. But if we look at the right side, what baseball is starting to do is shift the infield. So as you can see, the first baseman, second baseman, and the shortstop, they're all on the right side of the field. And the third baseman is kind of in between the middle and the left. That's because a typical left-hander will hit it to the right 44% of the time and middle 41% of the time. That's about 85%, right? So if you're covering 85% of the field, you probably have a really good chance to get that person out. And so looking at the batting average, now by shifting their infield, it's only a 202 average instead of a 248. So they're getting on the base less. So that's just kind of showcasing how baseball is utilizing data to help them achieve wins. A great example of this is the book and movie Moneyball. If you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic movie. I haven't read the book. I've watched the movie many times, and Brad Pitt is in there too, so it's pretty cool. But in this movie and book, the 2002 Oakland Athletics, they used analytics in their favor because they are one of the lowest spending teams in baseball. There is no salary cap. You could spend as much money as you want on your players and it doesn't matter. Some teams spend 100 million, some teams spend like 700 million and they have better teams and whatnot. Oakland doesn't have a big salary cap. Like they don't have a lot of money to spend. Therefore, they always have to find individuals that are up and coming or have to draft individuals that are younger in college. And hopefully they pan out. Opposed to the big teams like New York and Boston, where they have a lot of money, and LA, they can buy all these like players that are proven already and pay them a lot of money. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so in 2002, these are the MLB team salaries. The Yankees were number one with 132 million. Boston, Texas, Arizona, they all spent over $100 million, right? And if you would have guessed it, all four of these teams made the playoffs. Back in 2002, there were only six teams that made the playoffs. And it was really hard to actually make it because if you're competing against teams like this, it was really difficult. But if we look at the Oakland Athletics, they only spent 41 million. So it was more than less than half of these other big four teams. But in 2002, they made the playoffs. They didn't have to spend all that money because they used data to help them choose individuals on their team. So going back to Moneyball, um, that year, Billy Beane hired Paul DePosta, a Harvard economics graduate, and they found ways to utilize data to shift people to infields, to have individuals that could take walks instead of getting hits. They would get on base, right? And then they had pitchers that threw a little funny or whatever, but they threw strikes to get individuals out. So by having a combination of affordable assets and using data points, they were able to create a winning team. They did not win the championship that year, but they did break the most consecutive wins for the MLB with 20 wins, and they made the playoffs. So even though they didn't win the championship, they continuously find ways to compete with the MLB teams. Okay, so let's go back. How can we achieve making good UX decisions? This process is a case-by-case basis, and not every feature will need all these resources, but there's two buckets that we can look at. The first one is quantitative data with analytics data, user testing, heat maps, A/B testing. And the second one is qualitative data with user interviews, focus groups, and surveys. Let's go ahead and look at quantitative data first. Quantitative data provides numerical information that can be measured and analyzed. It shows the who, when, where, but it doesn't tell you the why. So let's dive into that. So the first thing is analytical data, right? We have user behavioral flows, metrics, page views, bounce rates, conversion rates. And if you can see the screenshot on the right, that is Google Analytics, right? A very simple example of that is implementing that into your application, your website, and looking at like the unique users, the flow of data, that's coming through, and you can utilize that data to prove your case. In this point here, you can see here the bounce rate right now for this particular, I don't know what this page or the screenshot is 80%. That's pretty high. So that means you probably should go and figure out why the bounce rate is so high, right? Having that data allows you to understand that, not just using your emotions and ideas, but justifying with data. The next item is heat maps. This one you can track mouse position, scroll position, clicked area, and all that. And this is an example from Crazy Egg. If we look at this next screenshot here, this is a scroll map, right? So at the top, it's the first fold. Like everybody sees that the bright white, that's like everybody sees that yellow. That's just how hot it is, right? But as you scroll down, you can see that the three conversion rate optimization myth debunked is green. That means that maybe half people are seeing it. A book review of a project guide to UX design, that's lowered on the fold. That's probably like a 5% or so, and that's really low. But let's take a look at the right side column, right? We have popular books at the right, and then below that, we have popular articles. Let's say one of our key points, data points, was to feature more of our popular articles. Well, based on this design, it's not working. People are not getting there. This doesn't have a click map, but it shows you the scroll, right? So that means that not many people are getting there. So maybe we need to rethink this, re-architect this, redesign this, maybe flip popular books with popular articles because popular articles is more important to the website than popular books. So we can use this data to justify our changes and recommend opportunities of improvement. And then here's the click map. This is a basic website, right? And you can see a lot of people are clicking about and the pro link. But if you look at that right hand column again, right? This is a CTA that is for a free course. Some people are clicking on the email, but they're more so not clicking on the button. That means one or two things. They're either pressing enter to submit their email for this form, or they're putting their email in and then leaving it abandoned. One or two things. But as we can see it too at the top, the search bar is very popular, right? A lot of website search bars are super popular, and this justifies that as well. Um, just meaning that the navigation that this site has is probably doing pretty well, because home about like all the navigations are being clicked on. But again, just to justify that, if somebody says, "Hey, I don't think that search bar is working. Like, let's remove that." We can use this data and say, no, actually, it's being used a lot. With Crazy A, you can actually go and see how many times it's being clicked on and whatnot. That this way, using this, you can justify the UX of the applications and websites that you're building. User testing is a method that gathers data by conducting a session with users to try new features. They're usually using a prototype to play around with it. There's not too much effort used to fully building the feature out, but it's fully guided. And here is an example of user testing, right? As you can see, we have two designs, A and B. I will point out the difference. It's very simple. On B, we have a view headphone details link next to the button that says buy now. And then going back to A, that button just says see product. And so instead of like when you press that button that says see product, you're going to the product page, right? You're going to see more details before you even buy it. On the right side, you have the option of doing both. You can either view the details or you could just buy it right away, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of companies that sell products, they want people to checkout right away, or to have conversions, right? And if it's a barrier for the user to click on see product first and then buy, it might be holding them back. But by having the option, now we can go through user testing and say, okay, hey, here's an option that we are changing, right? An option B. Let's put it through user testing and see if our users are actually converting better, or how are they going to use it more? Because by having this test, then we, instead of implementing the whole feature right away and changing things up, we're going to use that data to ensure that whatever we're trying to change is going to make sense. Right. Next one is A/B testing, right? The ability to test your experiment on the production application. This allows you to split traffic. It could be a 50-50 split. Whoever comes goes to A and the second person goes to B, like the design we had, right? They can go to A or B. Or you can choose by region base or whatever de facto settings you want to use for that. But the best thing about A/B testing is it's not permanent. You're testing a different variation out, and you want to see if the data is going to be better for conversions or whatever your data point is. This will allow you to ensure that if you're going to move forward with the new version of the feature or implementation, that it's going to be successful. Also, it can quickly point out if it's not going to work out, right? And you can pivot and come up with a new version if you want to, and you can continue to utilize A/B testing. Okay, so let's pretend, right? Option A is the default state, and this is for A/B testing, and B is the new state, right? And then let's pretend we ran some tests, and lo and behold, option A conversion rate was only 43%. But option B, the conversion rate was 57%. That's an increase of 14%. Does it mean it worked? Yes. Does it ensure that we will guarantee more conversions? Not necessarily. But it is proving the fact that by adjusting and having two call to actions and ability to buy right away, it has increased the conversions. So as we continue to monitor this, we can continue to look and figure out if this is a solution that we want to move forward with. But right away, you can tell like it increased the conversions already. So one or two things you can do is put in a feature request to permanently put this fixation in, or we can continue A/B testing more to get some more data to ensure that if you're going to make the switch, that it's going to be beneficial for the company. Okay, so now let's look at qualitative data. This demonstrates the why and the how. It offers a perspective of why and how things happen. It often communicates through persona and user's journey. So we have user interviews, focus groups, and surveys. All right, so user interviews. They help learn the user's needs, wants, decision making, and more. You're able to gauge, respond, and ask follow-up questions instantly because you have the user right in front of you. It could be virtually or it could be in person, but they're testing whatever you want them to test. It could be a prototype, it could be a feature. Like you're able to kind of gauge how they're feeling about the changes that are coming. Unlike user testing, you have them right in front of you. Yeah. Yeah. Because user testing, you can just blast it out to like hundreds of users. They go through it, they fill a form out. You can watch the recording or whatever, because there's a lot of services that you can utilize for that. But with user interviews, you have them right in front of you, and you can get instant reactions and whatnot right away. Okay, so user interviews, they can be structured or semi-structured. They would generate rich and quality user data. They will be able to gauge the user's reaction behaviors right away. Next is focus groups. These are when you gather a group of people to discuss about the product, feature, etc. This is conducted in a moderated setting. This allows each one of the users to add on to ideas and thoughts while creating group conversations. Um, this is fantastic because if you just have one user in there, right, they're just thinking about what they're seeing and what they're thinking of. But in a group setting, if somebody brings up a certain feature of why they don't like it, then you might have the same feelings, but you didn't think about it. It creates this group conversation of not pairing, just like identifying features that work or don't work, but also like like what that individual what they go through. I did this once, and a person brought up about accessibility concerns, right? And they were saying like their sister had accessibility concerns, and when they navigate these sites that don't have good accessibility, she can't get to where she wants to. And he highlighted a bunch of key elements, and I was like, wow, like that makes a lot of sense. Like there's certain designs that work for that, and certain designs that don't. The fancy ones may not be accessible, and if they are, it's really difficult to get them to be WCAG 2.1 or 2.2 accessible. All right. Focus groups are helpful to have multiple voices and opinions to listen to. They can uncover valuable insights through group conversations, and these are all moderated to maintain focus. Okay, so same design again, right? But it's a little bit different this time. You can go into a focus group and ask this question, right? A is again the default. Nothing has changed with A. But B, you can see that the headphone image is smaller, it's flip-flopped, right? Image is on the left, content is on the right. And the content actually flows to the edge more. It has a buy now, and there's a link below that that says like view headphone details, right? So the left one just says see product again. The right one has the two call to actions based on A/B testing. It actually worked, but the design is changed, right? So by having this, the focus group can decide and talk about like, okay, I like these changes or I don't. When I did this talk before, a lot of people said that they don't like that the headphone image was smaller, like because if we're trying to sell a product, I actually want to see more of it. That made a lot of sense. They also said that the buy now was really good because if they already know what they want to buy it right away. Another negative was that the body content was stretched out. It felt like it was an endless stream of content, whereas the left one was fixated to a 50-50 split, and it just felt better. And then again, another one was that they did like the option of being able to view the details or buying it now. I think those are some great cases. But obviously, by having an active and a real focus group, you'll will definitely hear more opinions and feelings and whatnot. Um, and I think those were the main points. But with focus groups, by having those conversations with groups, like things will come up that you just don't realize. You may feel like, oh, this design is great. Like it's through A/B testing, we already figured out that behind this buy now, it actually works. We're just tweaking the design a little bit, and that should be fine. Right. But again, like putting it through user testing or having individuals come on and provide feedback to you, and even in a group setting too, being understanding the differences that it's making, the impact that it's making. Maybe now by them saying like, hey, like the image is too small, I want to see more before I buy it. Then maybe we flip back to A, but just changing the call to action of C product to just buy now, and then adding the view headphone details below it. So keeping that image really big still and whatnot. All these data points and conversations helps you drive better decisions. All right. Next is surveys. This is when users leave feedback about the product. These can be done on your website, email newsletter, text message, phone app, or through a marketing plan. It's an easy way to receive unsolicited good or bad feedback about your product. But this is direct customer feedback, and it is extremely valuable. Okay, so now let's look at a common process of a new feature or project. I've worked on many teams before, and Every single team had a different process of doing things, right? It's been more common to have a common process like this, where you go through, you have a project manager or a leader that has an idea to improve the customer pain point, and then they give it to design to come up with the design. Once approved, they handed it to the newly minted design to the developer to implement, and then the developer implements it. That's it. Like very cut and dry. So first, throughout my experience, most common practices is to use quantitative data to quickly conduct research about a feature. But what if we could combine quantitative data with qualitative data? Well, yes, you can. And I think you should because you can use user feedback with A/B testing, with user interviews, and all of that, right? Remember, this isn't a bulletproof way of finding solutions. And definitely try a few solutions out because every company is a little bit different. But is an example of a refined UX process that I would utilize. So first, you start off with an idea, right? The PM or a customer pain point comes in. We have that new idea, and then the idea is thoroughly crafted with the usage of analytics, heat maps, and a new design is created involving PM and devs. And then third, we take the design into user testing to get a feel if some of the users like the new feature that we're trying to implement. After testing, we create user interviews to understand from a one-on-one setting on how users feel about the feature. And then we can have the developer implement and prep for A/B testing. As we conduct A/B testing, we will diverge a percentage of traffic to see the new feature and the other percentage to see the old one. After gathering all user feedback, we can build a case if this experiment was successful or not. Lastly, we present the recommendations to leadership and team and to see if this was a successful new idea or implementation that we have. And then we ship it. But before shipping it, if there are any changes or if the feature didn't work, you can start over again, right? Like you don't have to implement something that you spend a lot of time on because by doing this process, you're not fully invested in the feature right away. You're doing a ton of testing, and at any time you can stop. Like a user testing, you can say, "Oh, we got some feedback, and this is not going to work. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back and create a new design." No problem. Do that again. You could continuously tweak it until it makes sense for the company because at every part of this process, it's time and money. If you go to a new idea and go implement or design and implement it right away, there is no data to prove that the new feature or the new refactor or new design is going to bring new business or better business or increase business. But by having a solid process similar to this, you can have a lot of data points to prove that it does work, right? We did user testing, we did user interviews, we also did A/B testing, and then gathering all that data, we can provide some recommendations, and you might even prove to leadership too that hey, this new idea actually doesn't work, right? Like it's not increasing much value for us to the point where we should just fully invest in this and implement this. So by having a solid process, it goes a long way. It makes sure that you and your team are not only are you going to build an efficient solution, but you're not going to waste other individuals' time and efforts. So how can we implement this process? I'll be honest with you, it starts with you. I'm going to guesstimate that most people here are well, obviously they're from this that. So you're nerds just like me, developers, managers, or some form of fashion involved in tech. But we need to be innovators to embark a new process that not only saves us time from refactoring our code over and over again, but it will also provide much more data-proven solutions to put a rubber stamp on, right? And the one thing that we cannot deny when we Back up our solution with data. Why? Because data may disappoint, but it never ever lies. All right, in conclusion, how can data help support decisions? With quantitative data resources, with analytics, user testing, heat maps, and A/B testing, qualitative data resources with user interviews, focus groups, and surveys, and common project. When we went over a common project process and how we could improve on it. So, in closing, we often implement ideas and features based on emotions instead of leveraging effective customer research. But by collecting useful customer data, we can justify our decision making and be more successful with our solutions. And let me leave you with one last thought. Leaving emotions aside, allow the data we collect to drive our decisions, right? Because when we use emotions, most oftentimes we're wrong. We're doing it based on what we feel is best, opposed to what our users are telling us. And maybe it could be just one or two users telling us to change things up. And the other 100 are like, no, it's fine, right? So allowing the data that we collect to drive those decisions will make better decisions. All right. Thank you for listening to me. Here's my contacts from Twitter and LinkedIn.